Oh, it's late. It is late. But the schedule maker, being a jerk, he schedules a game really, really early. And I would imagine during the summer, he's like, I'm going to schedule this really, really early because then Shannon has to stay up really late on a Saturday night to do the preview for Sunday. Well, schedule maker, challenge accepted. And because of the boards that were available, I had to use 3 boards for this. But tomorrow, when this game is done, I will do a review of Pittsburgh and Washington, because Pittsburgh and Washington is always a great game. 37-17-6 is the record for Pittsburgh overall. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1. They're 15-11-2 on the road. And they're looking to put some distance between themselves and Washington. Washington's 37-17-6 as well. But they're 3-6-1 in their last 10. So same record, different way of getting there. At home, they're 16-9-5. So not as great at home as they are on the road. February 2nd, these teams met. Pittsburgh won in Washington 4-3. This is the second meeting in Washington. They will meet twice in Pittsburgh from here on, March 7th and March 22nd. So Pittsburgh could have a large effect on how well Washington does from here, and Washington the same for Pittsburgh, as it should be. Goaltenders, Matt Murray, 17-8-5 with a .903 save percentage. I haven't checked who's going to be the starters tomorrow. I would imagine Matt Murray because Jarry started today. Jarry's 29-1 with .927 save percentage. That's 20 wins, 9 regulation losses, and 1 overtime or shootout loss. On the Washington side, I expect Holtby because Samsonov played today. Holtby's 21-13-5 with an .896 save percentage. Samsonov 16-5-1 with a .916 save percentage. He lost on the road, which ended a tremendous story for Samsonov, which I didn't see anybody writing about anywhere. I will have to do a Samsonov video this summer. I'm aware of this. He has not had nearly the attention you would think that he would for some of the incredible numbers he's put up. On the scoring side, I went with a defenseman and a forward for each team. Marcus Pettersson, a goal and 17 assists, 18 points, underrated blue liner for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Malkin, 20 goals, 40 assists, 60 points. Pretty good player. Don't know if you've heard of him. Pretty good player. Might get in the Hall of Fame. I'm thinking absolutely first ballot. On the Washington side, Wilson, 19 goals, 21 assists, 40 points. And Carlson, 15 goals, 56 assists, 71 points. He's not going to get 100 points, but he's going to end up with about 90, 95. And there's going to be the discussion about whether or not he gets the Norris. And it is a discussion that, and I know I'm going to get some flack over this, it's getting closer. Hedman in Tampa making an argument, and Yossi in Nashville also making an argument. And now that I've said that, there are other names that will get thrown out there. And yeah, there are some guys having really good seasons on the blue line. Next up, Winnipeg in against Buffalo. This one starts at 3 o'clock Eastern, which is noon Pacific. So the Winnipeg Jets, back-to-back afternoon games on the road. They're hoping for a better result against a Buffalo team that might feel pretty good about itself right now. It probably should. Winnipeg, 32-26-5 overall. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1, and on the road, they're 16-12-2. They're better on the road than they are at home. Buffalo, 28-25-6 overall. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1, and at home, they're 18-10-4. They are likely looking forward to this. This is the first meeting they're having with Winnipeg. Their next meeting will be March 3rd in Winnipeg. So in roughly a week and a half, they will meet again in Winnipeg. Hellebuck, 26-19-5 with a .918 save percentage. He played today. I would imagine it's Brossoit tomorrow. He's 6-7 with an .893 save percentage, but he did win his last game. Hutton, does Hutton go for Buffalo again, back-to-back? 12-10-4, I should say, with an .897 save percentage. Johansson would be the backup. 0-1-1 with an .889 save percentage until Ullmark shows up again. On the scoring side of things, Beaulieu, 1 goal, 5 assists on the blue line for Winnipeg. He's had a pretty good year, and it's underrated. Connor, 30 goals, 33 assists, 63 points. I like Kyle Connor, so I wanted to throw his numbers up there. Ristolainen on the Buffalo side, is he on his way out of town? If they want to add a forward, they may end up having to move Risto. But can they afford to move Risto if they want to actually get into the playoff hunt? He's 5 goals. He has 5 goals, 26 assists, 31 points. And Skinner, who's known as a hot and cold player. He had a goal today. Does he get hot now? 12 goals, 9 assists, 21 points. The right answer if you're Skinner is, I sure hope so. because I kind of need to. They're paying him a lot of money, and they're likely looking for a return on the money they're paying him. Next up, Chicago in against Dallas. This one starts at 3 o'clock Eastern, which is noon Pacific. And for Chicago, they're toying with it, but overall, they're falling out. 27, 26, and 8 overall, so they're alive, but barely when it comes to playoffs. 3, 5, and 2 in their last 10, and they're 14, 13, and 4 on the road. But they may enjoy playing in Dallas. Dallas is 35, 20, and 6. They're coming off that horrible loss against the St. Louis Blues, these guys. They're 6, 2, and 2 in their last 10, and they're 18, 10, and 2 at home. November 23rd, these teams met in Dallas. Dallas won that one 2-1 in a shootout. They met November 26th in Chicago. Chicago won that one 3-0. They meet again in Chicago on March 27th. So Chicago could affect where Dallas ends up in the standings, and Dallas could deliver that dagger to the hearts of the Chicago Blackhawks. Although I think it's pretty obvious they're going to miss at this stage. Goaltending, Leonard 16, 10, and 5 with a .918 save percentage. Crawford's 11, 16, and 3 with a .915 save percentage. Their save percentage has been getting closer and closer. I can remember when Leonard was up around .922, .923. Crawford was down around .903 or .904. Now they're evening up, making it more difficult for Stan Bowman to figure out what he's going to do from here. On the Dallas side, Bishop's 21, 13, and 4. They'll want to throw him back in. He got pulled in his last game. .922 save percentage overall. Hudobin, 14, 7, and 2 with a .926 save percentage. On the scoring side, Keith, a goal and 17 assists. Now that he's got his 600th point, is he going to get on a bit of a run? And DeBrincat, 16 goals, 23 assists. Now that he's got a couple of goals under his belt in his last game, is it time for him to go on a bit of a scoring binge? On the Dallas side, Heiskanen, 7 goals, 25 assists, 32 points. Pretty solid defenseman they got there. And Pavelski, 13 goals, 15 assists, 18 points. His overall number, or 28 points I should say, his overall numbers leave you wanting. And yet, he's been good. Just the scoring hasn't been what was expected when he was signed. We'll see whether or not that picks up as they get closer and closer to the playoffs. They definitely need it. Next up, San Jose in against the New York Islanders. San Jose Sharks now 26, 31, and 4 as they continue to fade. And we hear rumors about Marleau and Thornton, where they might go at the deadline and what San Jose might want back. 4 and 6 in their last 10. Like I said, they're fading at this stage. They're 12, 16, and 3 on the road. So it's been bad overall for San Jose. On the New York Islanders side, they're 34, 20, and 6. Likely going to be happy to see San Jose after seeing Detroit. So a couple of games that should be winnable. They won the first one. Can they win the next one? They're 5 and 5 in their last 10, the New York Islanders. And at home, they're 19, 7, and 4. So the overall numbers for the Islanders could be trending in the right direction. However, November 23rd, San Jose won this meeting 2-1 against the Islanders in a overtime game. And I seem to remember that was when things were going pretty well for San Jose, and it looked like they might get back into a playoff spot. Now, on the goaltending front, I don't know which way they go. Do you go with Jones? Jones is 14, 18, and 2 with an .894 save percentage. Yeah, probably. Dell's 12, 13, and 2 with a .909 save percentage. On the Islanders front, probably Greiss here. Varlamov played the last game. He's 18, 12, and 4 with a .918 save percentage. Greiss is 16, 8, and 2 with a .916 save percentage. Scoring-wise, Vlasic has 5 goals and 8 assists on the blue line for San Jose. I do wonder how many years Vlasic has left. I do. I wonder how many more years he's going to play. Timo Meier, 20 goals and 20 assists, 40 points for him. He's salvaged the season pretty well. He's had a pretty good season. He's had some shaky spots along the way, but not too bad. On the New York Islanders side, Green, 2 goals, 11 assists. He's had 3 helpers since he joined the team. He did spur the offense. I made jokes about it when they got him. Whoops, joke's on me. Eberle, 13 goals, 21 assists, 34 points. It looks like he's getting it together. And Lord knows the Islanders need people who are getting it together offensively because they need goals. That being said, I do need to change boards. Calgary. The Flames in against Detroit. This should be the cure for what ails the Calgary Flames. They have been struggling. 31, 25, and 6 overall. 4 and 6 in their last 10 on the road. They're 17, 13, and 2. And getting away from home might be the best thing for the Flames right now after that loss against the Boston Bruins. Detroit, they're 15, 44, and 4 overall. They're 3 and 7 in their last 10 and firmly planted in last place on the power rankings and firmly planted in last place on the standings where I don't track their points because they're officially eliminated. 10, 18, and 2 at home. October 17th, Calgary won this meeting 5-1 against Detroit. So we'll see how things go for them. Goaltending, Riddick, 22, 15, and 5 for the Calgary Flames. 908 save percentage. Talbot, 9, 10, and 1 with a 914 save percentage. It doesn't really matter who they go with. Who does Detroit go with? Do they go with Bernier, who's 13, 18, and 2 with a 908 save percentage, which isn't bad? Or Howard, who's 2, 22, and 2 and has an 886 save percentage? All of those numbers are just awful. We'll see what Detroit does. I would think you go with Bernier. Scoring-wise, Backlund, 12 goals, 22 assists, 34 points for Calgary. He seems to be getting things together. Anderson, 4 goals, 15 assists, 19 points. He's had to pick up the slack while Giordano's out. And I say pick up the slack, not that he's been slacking off or anything, just it gives him more of a leadership role on the blue line than he would otherwise expect. On the Detroit side, I went with Filppula, 5 goals, 15 assists. Does he get moved? And Daly, who has 6 assists, does he get moved? There's been talk about those guys and whether or not Detroit's just going to move anybody out on an expiring contract. Get what you can while you can. And just stockpile those draft picks. And then at the draft table, if you've got, say, 2 fourths, maybe you can turn that into a third. You've got a couple of thirds, you can turn it into a second, this kind of thing. It's all about being able to move up or move down, in some cases, to get extra picks or get the guy that you're looking for. So we'll see what they do, but that's all Detroit has left to talk about because they're officially eliminated from the playoffs. Next up, St. Louis, these guys. And I'm clearly wearing St. Louis because I think that this hot streak they're on will continue. They're in against Minnesota, who've been pretty darn good themselves. And Minnesota's proven in recent games and on that road trip that they're not going away. So St. Louis is 35, 17, and 10. They have 80 points right now. Pretty good record for them. Last 10, they're 4, 4, and 2. But they've won 3 in a row. On the road, they're 15, 11, and 5. Minnesota, they're 29, 27, or 29, 24, and 7. Got to get it right. I don't care if it's almost 1 in the morning. I got to get it right. Last 10 games, they're 6, 3, and 1, and at home, they're 17, 9, and 5. Now, October 30th, these teams met in St. Louis. St. Louis won that one 2-1. November 2nd, they met in Minnesota. St. Louis won that one in overtime, 4-3. Their next meeting will be March 29th in St. Louis. So Minnesota looking to make a little bit of a dent in St. Louis's record tomorrow. I would expect Binnington here. I expect Binnington a lot, although there's an asterisk here. Allen is excellent on the road. Binnington 26, 11, and 7 with a 911 save percentage. Jake Allen 9, 6, and 3 with a 923 save percentage. On the Minnesota side of things, I expect Stalock because he's been the better goaltender. 15, 9, and 4 with a 908 save percentage. Dubnyk 11, 14, and 2 with an 893 save percentage. But that doesn't tell you Dubnyk has been playing better lately. On the scoring front, Jaden Schwartz, 20 goals, 28 assists, 38 points. His points totals, his goal totals are more where you expect him this year. Last year he had a really down year, followed by a fantastic playoff, and now he's back to where you can expect him to be. Parayko, 7 goals, 16 assists, 23 points. If we had a Rod Langway award for defensive defenseman, Parayko would definitely be up for that every year. On the Minnesota side of things, Kevin Fiala continues to be a story. 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points. And Dumba, 4 goals, 17 assists, 21 points. Does he stick around? I can't see him being moved at the deadline. They're really not that far out to start moving guys at the deadline. They know this. I know the media doesn't, but the manager does. And the fans do, mostly. All right, next up. Vegas in against Anaheim. And I'm saying next up because this is not the last game. This is where things got tricky. I had to use this board, which only has room for 3 games and the standings, meaning there's a board I've made up behind this that's got 1 game on it. So, Vegas in Anaheim. This one starts at 10 o'clock. So, of course it does. And then there's one that starts half an hour later, and that's Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, this one. 33, 22, and 8 now for Vegas. They're 7, 2, and 1 in their last 10. They've started rolling. They're 14, 12, and 4 on the road. Anaheim's 24, 30, and 7 overall. They're 4, 4, and 2 in their last 10. At home, they're 12, 13, and 3. It looked like they were getting better, and then they didn't. October 27th, Vegas won this meeting in Vegas, 5-2 over Anaheim. December 27th, Anaheim won the rematch at home, 4-3 over Vegas. December 31st, Vegas then trashed them 5-2 in Vegas. So we'll see if this is a game that holds court if Anaheim wins both games at home after losing both on the road, or if Vegas can win 3 out of 4. Fleury played tonight, so I would kind of expect Subban tomorrow night. Fleury's 25, 14, and 5 with a 906 save percentage. Subban's 8, 7, and 3 with an 893 save percentage, but it's back-to-back, so you got to play Subban. Anaheim, Gibson, 17, 24, and 4, 906 save percentage. Kind of expect him here. Miller, 7, 6, and 3 with a 907 save percentage. Now, scoring, Riley Smith, 25 goals, 24 assists, 49 points. He has been excellent. And after what was kind of a slow start, he has really picked it up over the last couple of months. Theodore, 8 goals, 33 assists, 41 points, putting up the best points season that any defenseman has for Vegas in their short history. You've got to have that asterisk in there. It's a short history, but still, Theodore, very good season. Getzlaf up front, 12 goals, 26 assists, 38 points. He is their number one point scorer. And when you look at it, and the fact that he scored less than Fiala, it's kind of a backhanded compliment, I guess. Manson, 1 goal, 5 assists. Manson's been much better lately than where he was, say, a month ago. So, that being said, let's talk about the standings for a bit. Boston, 90 points. They're number 1 overall in the NHL. Tampa Bay, 85 points. They're second. They've got 1 game in hand on Boston. Toronto is still third in that division with 72 points. 13 behind Tampa Bay, who are in second. Pittsburgh's number 1 in the Metro with 80 points. The Capitals are number 2 in the Metro, also with 80 points. And the Flyers, 77 points in 62 games. And, so they have 3 points between themselves and the teams ahead of them. And again, I do like the Flyers' odds right now. I really, really do. The Islanders, 60 games, 74 points. The Canes, 61 games, 74 points for them. So they've just played 1 more game than the Islanders. And the Islanders do not have room for error. Columbus also has 74 points, but in 63 games. Now, behind them is the team we're all watching, the New York Rangers. 61 games played and 70 points. So, yeah. The Florida Panthers, 62 games played and 70 points for them. So, Florida, not really out of the wild card picture if they don't catch third. The problem is they're not looking like they want to catch third either. Montreal, 66 points. They're 8 points back of a wild card, 6 points back of Toronto. The Sabres, 64 points. They're 8 points back of Toronto, 10 points back of a wild card. And then you get into New Jersey, and you're just ridiculously far back. On the western side of things, St. Louis, 80 points to lead the West. Colorado, 79 points. 1 game in hand on St. Louis. So they'll be watching tomorrow's game with some great interest. Dallas, 76 points. So they're 3 points behind Colorado Avalanche. Vegas leads their division with 74 points. So that's the cutoff in the East. I know people are going to talk about it, but Vegas will get above that total. They have played 63 games, though. 2 more than Vancouver, who are 2 points behind them. 2 more than the Oilers, who are 3 points behind them. So those games in hand are going to be very important. The Arizona Coyotes, 70 points in 65 games for them. That 65 games is the problem. That's more games than anybody else in the NHL has played. They're 1 point ahead of the Winnipeg Jets, who have 2 games in hand. They are 2 points ahead of the Nashville Predators, who have 4 games in hand. And Calgary's back here with 68 points. They're in danger right now. They're 1 point out of the playoffs. Minnesota, 4 points back, but with 3 games in hand on the Jets. They're 5 points back of the Coyotes with 5 games in hand. And here's Chicago, 7 points back. And they have to jump over so many teams that it's not going to happen. So I have to change boards. I think Newfoundland will be getting up when I post this video. Well, some people. No, this one starts at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific as well. So yay! Although this will go to a shootout because the last game of the night goes to a shootout on weekends. And even tonight, LA, Colorado, I said this one's going to a shootout. She said, of course it is. So Edmonton, 32, 22, and 7. This is one of those you kind of have to win this games. They're 5, 4, and 1 in their last 10. On the road, they're 17, 12, and 2. Now, LA, 22, 34, and 5. They're 3, 6, and 1 in their last 10. 13, 12, and 2 at home. But I'll say this about LA. They've been competitive lately. Absolutely, they have been competitive. October 5th, Edmonton beat them 6-5. Beat the Kings 6-5. And I remember Oilers fans being mad the first power rankings because they bust Edmonton way up. And I said, they beat LA 6-5. And they're like, but still. And I'm like, but LA's not going to be very good. And then Yeah. Anyways, LA then beat them November 21st, 5-1, and then Edmonton beat them December 6th, 2-1. So does LA win at home against Edmonton? Because the home teams won all 3 games in this series so far. We'll see. Koskinen 16-12-2 with a 911 save percentage. Smith 16-10-5 with a 905 save percentage. I don't think it matters who Edmonton goes with in net. I don't. I would imagine Smith. Now, Quick won tonight. Well, played tonight, lost in the shootout. 13-22-4 with an 898 save percentage. I would expect Cal Peterson here. He's 1-2 with an 896 save percentage. Don't overlook Peterson or he'll beat you. Scoring, and I don't mean like physically beat people up. I mean you'll lose. He's not that kind of guy. You're overlooking me and he'll skate down the. He's not like that. Not since Billy Smith, if we really Ron Hextall too, and sometimes Belfour and Hasek would kind of buy, and Sean Burke definitely. Okay, so there've been a few. Ray Emery. There've been some goalies who. Okay, and Rick DiPietro. All right. Just forget I even said it. Scoring. Leon Draisaitl is the scoring leader in the NHL. 35 goals, 62 assists, 97 points. Hart Trophy? Maybe. But for him to get there, the Oilers have to make the playoffs. That's kind of been the rule for a long time. We'll see how that goes. And when McDavid gets back, the odds of making the playoffs go up just that much. Because without Clefbaum, I think with McDavid, they're okay. But without both, that hurts. Ethan Bear, 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points. Pretty darn solid rookie season. I don't put him in the Calder conversation, but you know what? He's had an excellent rookie year, and it's kind of nice. Because after last season, which was seen as a regression by him, he's taken that step forward this year. Iafallo for the Kings, 15 goals, 21 assists, 36 points. He's one of the top scoring Kings. But at least he's one of the Kings that's going to stick around in next year. And I like Alex Iafallo. I still think there's more offense there. 55, 60 points I would think might be tops, but I still think that's there. Sean Walker, 5 goals, 16 assists, 21 points. It is easy to look at a team like the Kings and overlook players who've had good seasons. And Walker's a guy who's had a pretty good year. So there you go. Let me know your winners in the comment section below. Your thoughts and all that. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, just tapping upon this video. And now I'm done for today. So thank you guys so much for all your support. It's another brutal Saturday, but you know what? It's worth it. It is. I don't get a lot of sleep on weekends, but there are people who work a heck of a lot harder and a lot more hours than I do. My feet are starting to kind of tell me to go to hell. But, you know, who needs feet? I don't need feet. Have you ever seen me with feet? No. So if you've never seen me with feet, I clearly don't need them. All right. Thanks again for all your support. Happy Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending where. I guess it's Sunday morning everywhere now because it's after midnight here. So happy Sunday, everybody. I will talk to you again in about probably 8 hours when there's news of the day, and there's probably going to be trades first thing in the morning because it's not just the scheduler that's jerks, it's the people who make the trades. Even the GMs, they want to exhaust me. I will talk to you in the morning.